This is the Harmony One 1-year overview reading for the year of 2025. It's currently October 5th, 2024, 4:21 p.m. Eastern Time. Harmony One at the time of this reading is 0.01191781, or just over 1 cent USD. The shuffle video for the Harmony One reading was created on August 4th, 2024 at 7:27 p.m. Eastern Time. In these 1-year videos, what you can expect us to cover is going to be the overall trend direction for the year throughout 2025, any important chart behavior that takes place. We're going to cover the peaks and troughs of each quarter, and then we'll give you one of the best trades that we see for the year. The remaining information is all part of what you get as part of the total access subscription, or if you buy a custom 1 year, and that'll be the timing of the highest high and the lowest low, as well as all the other trades. It's important to understand that the chart behavior that we go through, you have to give it plus or minus 2 weeks of wiggle room in some readings, and not all, but that's the reason being is that each card represents about 2 weeks of time, and not each card's energy will necessarily line up with 2 weeks of time perfectly, but the sequence of events as outlined by the prediction will remain accurate even if we do have plus or minus 2 weeks of wiggle room here or there. So remember to follow the sequence of events, and if you're going to trade this information, make sure that you're trading based on the chart behavior for the highest highs and the lowest lows, or the chart behavior for the peaks and the troughs, and you're not trading based on price level. You want to look for the chart behavior around the general timing as your entry and exit when trading SO method analysis. All right, let's get into it. The overall theme and behavior for Harmony One throughout the year of 2025, there's going to be a lot of price change based on the ace of discs. There's a really lucrative multi-month trade taking place and a lot of price change on the scale of a 1-year chart minimum. There's going to be an attempt to establish support with sideways rotation. It'll be support that's important on a multi-year scale. And so there'll either be a lot of movement out of it or a lot of movement into it. But either way, when we reach it, we're going to have sideways rotation, and we'll determine, sometimes it's even back and forth, although not often with the ace of discs. Behavior around the highest high, we'll have sideways rotation that ends with a fast sudden move higher, taking us to the high for the year. Behavior around the lowest low, there'll be a failed attempt to break through key resistance on a 1-year chart scale, followed by a decline through key support into the low. Right, so in other words, there'll be a rally into key resistance on a 1-year chart scale, and we'll decline usually past the point at which we rallied. There's also a unicursal hexagram at play here, and a couple pretty strong cross-street incongruencies, which I'll talk about in more detail in the total access version of this video. In Q1, we have a resistance level early in the quarter that will decline from into a low for the quarter, and out of that low, there should be a pretty big move to the upside, probably taking us back to that resistance at the beginning of midway through the month, or maybe a little sooner. We should decline again from that resistance. There'll be some sort of intentional fake out or shakeout as we enter into the last bit of the first quarter. There'll be some sort of fake out there where it'll look like we've established support maybe. We have a breakout to the upside just towards the end, and we successfully turn resistance into support on a 1-year chart scale as we exit the first quarter. Be careful, there's a unicursal hexagram decline, a unicursal hexagram marker in there on the cusp of March, April. So there is going to be a sharp drop in there. Also, the correlations that we have here in orange are correlations to the ace of discs. So likely we're going to see that support level highlighted, and sometimes it's more than one support, the ace of discs. It could be a couple of supports maybe. But what you can count on is there's a lot of price change and an important support highlighted. Again, and that'll be on a multi-day scale. Now, in Q4, it looks like we start out in a trough. Oh, and then also we've got a trough. It looks like towards the second half of the first quarter, there's a trough out of which we have that big move to the upside. A notable reversal in there, too, on a 1-year chart scale. Now, in the Q2, we've got a trough early in Q2 with a bit of a rally, like a pop and a drop, back into a trough. That's an important trough on a 1-year chart scale. In Q2, there'll be two troughs, and then we'll have a peak towards the end of the quarter, but will decline from that to an important technical price level on a multi-year scale. That June low will mark off at, when June comes and goes, we'll mark off that price level, that science price level on the multi-year chart, which if you've got total access, you've got access to our live updated trading view chart, as well as the Discord trade alerts that will come out if we choose to trade this crypto throughout 2025. Yeah, it's pretty mixed. So Q2, we go from a trough up, but then back into a trough with a sharp drop. Then we kind of rally into a peak just around the cusp of May, June, before another trough or price swinging that takes us into that important technical price level around June, July. In Q3, there's a pretty good trade opportunity in there in Q3. That's what I'm going to highlight when we get to one of the best trades that I see for the year. We're going to talk about that one in the public version. Out of a trough early in Q3, there's a pretty notable rally into a peak mid-quarter, and also a pretty sharp drop out of that back into a trough around the cusp of August, September. And it looks like out of that trough around September, we have a really big move to the upside, taking us into Q4. We probably have a peak early in the quarter and then another peak or a higher peak mid-quarter, followed by a pretty sharp decline starting out of that second peak mid-quarter, taking us into another trough as we exit the fourth quarter. The sneak preview card for 2026, a fast sudden move higher on a 1-year chart scale that'll stand out. So normally at this point, what I'll do is I'll review the previous reading. So like for a 2025 1-year reading, we'll review the 2024, but there was no Harmony One 2024 reading done, so nothing to review at this time. We're going to take a look at some of the stuff that we would normally do in the total access version of this video. Just to give you guys kind of an idea, what we'll do is we take a look first off at the multi-year reading and look for cross-reading congruencies. If you're new to the channel, cross-reading congruency is something that we'll teach a lot about in our Investor Profit University coming out in 2025. Cross-reading congruency basically is it's the same card appearing in two different readings that have overlapping time frames. So this is 2020 through 2029. Each card represents about a year of time, making this Moon card the 2024 card and this Fortune card the 2025 card. A multi-year reading, though, you do need to give it plus or minus up to 2 years of wiggle room. It's the sequence of events that's most accurate, and that's what you should really pay attention to. But when we're looking to find where we are in the sequence of events as far as real time, we look for this cross-reading congruency. So in the 2025 reading, we find, right, we've got the Moon card here, we've got the Fortune card here. In the 2025 reading, we find the Fortune card and the Moon card both in significator positions, making them very important cards in the 2025 reading, which says to me that we've got a bit of this decline and a bit of this reversal both taking place here in 2025. This decline, this Moon card decline, could be bearish price swings as well, rather than just a straight decline, right? And we see Moon card energy in the early to midway Q1. We see it midway through Q2 into late Q2. And then there's some Moon card energy near a peak in the end of the third quarter, as well as at the very end of the year. These are secondary correlations, but this is where this card right here correlates on the 1 year, right? So there's very likely to be bearish price swings or significant drops at those times, not guaranteed, but majority of them will probably work out that way. And my sense is that the support that we establish or we meet at the December low on a multi-year scale, that support will be able to rely and trust that support to hold and see us move to the upside. So that support's probably at the end of the month of December, right? And then the following card after the Fortune card is the Sun card on the multi-year. We've also got the Sun card here. Interesting. So there's probably like a multi-year rally commencing in Harmony One. Let's just double check on that. Oh yeah, you know what card I pulled? Boom, the Sun card. That's a strong confirmation. So we have, and the Sun card actually on the scale of a 1 year reading, that is the card that represents the beginning of a rally. The Empress card is kind of like something that's ready to start a rally, but the actual commencement start to a rally, that would be the Sun card. That's one way that you could read it. In any case, guys, I keep mentioning the total access pass that gives you access to all of the 1 years and the paid version, all of the trades. We're going to get into the timing of the highest highs and the lowest lows down to like a 2-week timing for the year of 2025, as well as the remaining best trades that we see for the year. All of that's something that you get by custom ordering this specific reading or by having the total access pass on our website, Tarot for Traders. I will explain that to you, how to get that if you're interested, right after I show you this trade. We've got mixed behavior in the early part of the third quarter. We've got mixed behavior. There's a pretty notable move higher early in July. We revisit a support level near the high, and there's notable reversal near the July high. It gets pretty mixed in the later part of July, and we should look for sideways rotation near the low as well. We probably go from the low right to the high because they both have sideways rotation, and I would expect a pretty big move into a low, maybe like the third week of July. I'm looking for this behavior to line myself up for the timing. I'm not getting into a trade based on this movement, but I'm looking for this movement to kind of like signal, hey, get ready for this entry, right? So we have this revisiting of a support here, a sharp drop into a low here towards the third week. We should see some sideways rotation and then mixed behavior as we go into the cusp of July, August. Now, what I'm looking for is this move to the upside out of a trough, or on the cusp of July, August, a move to the upside through key resistance on a 1 year chart scale. And what I really want to see is a notable move higher. Probably after some sideways rotation, there'll be like a big move to the upside, ending the sideways rotation, taking us into the high. It'll be like a notable rally on a 1 year chart scale into a key resistance level at the August high, and then we should decline from that key resistance level with consecutively lower spikes up on the way down into another significant trough in early September. So when we have that rally into that peak with the sideways rotation and this big move higher, ending the sideways rotation, taking us into the high, probably the high for Q3, it'll be the high thus far. That's where you want to enter into a partial short. I say partial because it gets a little mixed around the end of August. You might have a second opportunity to add to it. So rather than getting scared out, in that case, you would add to it if it happens. But you have this partial short position before a sharp drop on a 1 year chart scale commences off of the high. That sharp drop should take us right into the cusp of September, and we should see sideways rotation in the early part of September. And that would be probably the safest place to exit. If you have more risk tolerance, you might consider holding it into mid-September, but it's a little murky. So my recommendation personally is always to go with the safest exit. You can always reinvest the capital. As long as you take the profit, who cares if you leave a little on the table? There's plenty of opportunity. Anybody that's like, oh man, I missed the top, that's scarcity mentality. You want to train your mind not to think that way, because that way of thinking causes decisions that will lose you money, my friend. That is probably one of the main components, if not the most important component of trading successfully, is to maintain a proper state of mentality. And that's one of abundance mentality. That's not one of fear or greed. It's one of abundance. And you're like relaxed, you do the right thing. You don't think about, oh, is this the last opportunities? Is this the best time? You're just like, oh, there's a profit, I'll take it. There'll be more profits to take. And you just keep raking them in, my friends. That's the way to do it. Anyways, that is Harmony One for 2025. If you're interested in the Total Access Pass, guys, it gets you 1 year of access to everything that's private on our website. All of the monthly subscriptions that predict by the day, as well as we have close to 50 2025 1-year readings that are already posted or being posted before the end of the year. You have access to the paid version of all of those and anything else like the stock picker readings and the alt picker readings that are coming out for 2025 pretty soon. All that stuff, you get access to that as part of the Total Access. The way that you get that, guys, it's the premier pass on our website. If you're really serious about this info, you want to get all of the trade alerts for all of these different tickers that we cover and have access to the live updated trading view charts. All of that stuff's covered as part of Total Access. It's hugely undervalued, my friends. With that said, thank you to everybody that does that. Blessings to all my angel investors. Following through on that rule of karma really helps you gain the profits. It comes back to you tenfold through this channel, my friends. As long as you follow through on that, you're an angel investor of the channel. We'll also send you a Discord invite to the angel investor channels where they help kind of like decide on tickers and things that are going to get covered. But blessings to all my angel investors. I will see you guys on the next one. Stay tuned if you got the paid version.